Hello my springtimey peeps, this is Kat, aka Kakibot, and I usually bring you videos from Edinburgh and Scotland for your enjoyment and education. And today I am bringing you one more of those fun roundups of months in Edinburgh. So, logically, this time it is April, and it's gonna be a fun one because I think that in the whole of the year since January, this is the first month when I feel like things are actually happening, so there's stuff to talk about. This time there's actually gonna be interesting stuff, and there's gonna be beautiful shots of this city covered in sakuras, so stay tuned for that. Alright, so we're gonna start with the weather, which is what we usually do, and as you can probably tell, just by the fact that I'm shooting this in the garden, the weather is better and kind of more dependable as well in April than it is in March. I mean, we did have some very beautiful weather in March this year, but it was kind of like a little pocket of nice weather, which then kind of like went to oops again. This month I would say was very kind of stable. It wasn't too windy, it wasn't too hot, it was very bright. It was just nice. Like here, I'm sitting here and I can tell you that like I wouldn't be comfortable without my jacket, so if you're wondering what to pack for an April in Edinburgh, definitely bring a jacket or a coat. You're not gonna be too warm. Maybe if you're like walking in the sun, but like if you're in the city center, you're gonna be covered in shade most of the time anyway, so that's fine. You might still wanna bring like maybe a little hat and maybe some sort of light scarf, and definitely boots rather than any sort of sandals, but I think that's kind of a universal tip for Edinburgh because we have a lot of cobblestones and they're kind of slippery when it's rainy, and it's rainy pretty often. So yeah, just keep it practical, my peeps. Also, bug. Also bug. Also, since last month, I started kind of mentioning what the flora is doing in Edinburgh, because obviously this is a city that has quite a lot of beautiful gardens and parks, and it's kind of nice to keep an eye on it. And obviously you might be wondering, when is the best time to visit Edinburgh if you want to see sakura flowers or, cherry blossom trees, or, cherry blossoms, and also other type of fruit tree blossoms, because some of them kind of start blossoming earlier on. I think that cherry blossoms are one of the later ones. This year they started blossoming, like proper blossoming, in the second half of April, and I am shooting this on the 29th, and it's, they're still going. I think that's partially because the weather has been quite good. There has been some wind, there has been a little bit of rain, but not quite enough to create that like one, horrible event of, the weather's just so bad that like now all of the blossoms are gone, and for like 2 days all of the roads and cars are just like covered in pink, and that's a pretty cute part of that cycle as well, but it's not as photogenic. Speaking of photogenic, that is one thing that April definitely is. It's like the most photogenic month of the year, because like all of those blossoms, and not just cherry blossoms, even the other trees and all of the flowers trying to bud. Like even in our garden we have a lot of like little daisies and dandelions, and it just like really brings a little like pop of color into your photography, which is really nice. In a gothic looking city like Edinburgh, it brings in an extra kind of je ne sais quoi. Okay, I think this is a good point to stop talking about how everything looks pretty and actually show you. So let's go and look at some B-roll. Yes. Okay, so now about all the things that can be done in Edinburgh, not just seen and enjoyed through your lens. First of them, I think you're gonna like this one, is the Beltane Festival. It's one of those big Celtic events. Edinburgh is pretty good for those. I believe that there are 4 big sort of seasonal Celtic festivals in the year, and here in Edinburgh you will mostly be able to experience the spring one / the start of summer one and the start of winter one, which kind of coincides with Halloween. I think that in the past 2 years it wasn't quite celebrated in the usual way, but this year it's going back to the traditional way of existing. It's happening on Kelton Hill. It's very fire heavy, which I hear is a callback to all of the rituals that people following this festival would be performing to protect their livestock and their land from everything natural and supernatural coming into summer, because that is the time when, the livestock will go and free roam. So they must be protected from those evil spirits. Quite a lot of birds around here. I'm getting slightly distracted by the glorious sound of nature. The colonies are alive with the sound of music. The ticket to attend this festival is £15. I think that there are some concessions as well. And as I am shooting this, I think there are still some available, but I'm pretty sure that at the point when this video goes out, the event is going to be over. But in the future, if you want to be a part of it, definitely give it a look. It usually happens at the very end of April or May 1st, because it's the May Day festival, essentially. So on the other side of the spectrum of things to do is the Edinburgh International Science Festival, which I've always seen happening. I've never really took part in it, but it looks so fun. I think that it's very much like a family thing. I've read through their program, and there are events for kids, 3-year-olds, but also for teenagers, and also events for the whole family. There are specific days when it is actually free for the parents to come along, which is really nice. It's also a very accessible festival where, for example, you can get like a sensory backpack if you want to attend an event, but you might get sensorically overwhelmed, so they will make that ready for you. This year's theme was Welcome to the Revolution. It was kind of focused on sustainability and like consumer and manufacturing habits of the people who live on Earth. And it was really interesting. I actually did visit some of the pop-up stuff they had, which I'm going to show you a little bit of. And yeah, I think that next year I'm really going to make sure that I'm going to get the and plan on visiting some of the events. It just looked really fun. And like one part of the International Science Festival is the Easter egg hunt at the Botanics. I'm not sure what's so sciencey about that, but it sounds fun anyway. Let me know in the comments below what a very sciencey egg hunt would be like. And another festival that I think that needs mentioning is the Edinburgh Trad Fest, which is the festival of traditional music, not just Scottish traditional music, but it also has guests from all over the world. I think that there are some events which highlight not just traditional music, but also artwork. So I think that a lot of you who are visiting Scotland and have a lot of interest in traditional Scottish, but not only Scottish culture, might be interested in partaking in this festival. And last month I have promised you that I will come back to the topic of Easter. I would say that in Britain in general, Easter is a very chocolate-based holiday. It is not, it doesn't really feel religious in any way. However, if you are religious, there are ways of taking part in the more traditional ways of celebrating Easter. There, it's just not something that you kind of see happen on the street. Where I come from in Czech Republic, there are a lot of Easter traditions that are quite region specific and are kind of based on some usually pagan but later Christian traditions. Not that you're interested in that, but I swear, some of them are very interesting. So if you are interested in Czech Easter traditions, just ask me in the comments below and I'm gonna be very happy to elaborate. And maybe it's gonna worry you about my upbringing. Anywho, yeah, I popped out into some of the supermarkets here and tried to take some shots of the Easter eggs just to kind of illustrate what sort of chocolate I'm talking about. I would say that the best thing to do is to, like 2-3 days after Easter, pop into your closest Hotel Chocolat and pick up some of their high quality thick egg and and save yourself 50% of egg. Do you have any favorite Easter eggs? I've seen that a lot of British people really hate on Bounty bars. So I've seen some pictures of like the discount aisle in supermarket being just Bounty bar eggs. And I was like, I wish I lived next to that supermarket. I love Bounty bars. Anyway, I'm really like going on a weird Bounty bar tangent here. I wanted to say that if you're planning to go to Edinburgh or Scotland around the time of Easter, keep in mind that it's bank holidays, so a lot of adults will have time off, but more importantly, around that time is also the school Easter holidays, and those take over 2 weeks. It's quite a long time. I think this year specifically, it got very noticeably busy because people are not quite comfortable planning holidaying abroad just yet, especially with kids. So, we had a lot of people coming from down south and from around Scotland, and because Edinburgh had really nice weather at that time too, it just felt like, wow, like so many extra people. It felt positively fringy here. So my recommendation would be do not come around that time because it's just too much. And hotels will be full, trains will be full. I mean, we traveled down to England around that time too, and I think that the trains were much fuller and busier than they would normally be. So yeah, keep that in mind. That's usually essentially the whole first half of April. Yeah. But come later, you're gonna see the sakuras. It's better, like avoid kids, come for the cherry blossom trees. Pro tip. Okay, I think I can finish this video with this amazing tip, and as always, I would love to hear from you. Let me know if you've ever been to Edinburgh in April. And if you think it's a good month to come, what was your favorite thing about it? What was your least favorite thing about visiting in April? And if there are any events or things that you think should not be missed, because I pretty much always forget to mention something important. So that's why I generally tell you to go to the comment section and see if someone, reminded me of something important. Usually happens. If you want to see more of my face and more of Edinburgh, don't forget to visit me on Instagram on KakiBot and KakiBlog. KakiBot is more of an illustrated thing, KakiBlog is more of a photographic thing, and I also have an Etsy store where you can find all sorts of Edinburgh and Scotland themed goodies. I will post the link in the doobly-doo, and that is truly it from me. Thank you for watching until the end, you're the best, and I shall see you soon.